What's good, y'all? We back with another banger for y'all. Today, we got something real special lined up. Got a special guest that's on. He's been a guest on Eric Crocker's show, who's an ex NFL, AFL player. He's been a guest on Grant Cohn's show, I don't know how many times. This guy's been moving around a lot, but we're going to let you know who it is coming up.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Jay Smooth,
It's your boy Showtime Sticks here.
Real Room Service Podcast. We got a special guest in the building. This guy is from the East Coast, hardcore Niners fan. Give it up for Jason Aponte!
My guy over here clapping and everything. Hey, you know what? We're gonna have to have a toast for you later on too. Just because.
I appreciate that, man, and I appreciate you guys having me on. And yeah, I'm ready to toss some ball, man. Like, yeah, even on the East Coast, it's like that's why you guys don't got to worry about time period. If like we grinding, then it's whatever time
All right.
we moving.
Absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, you can go ahead with Niner fan.
Alrighty, so we're just gonna go ahead and start it off. We just want to, talk to you a little bit. So, what made you become a Niners fan, and where's your inspiration come from to travel from the East Coast to follow the team all the way on the West Coast over here?
So that's a long answer. Like the short answer about how I became a 49ers fan is my father was in Indiana. He went to Indiana University at the same time that Joe Montana went to Notre Dame. And he went to a
Wow.
Notre Dame football game and they brought in some guy at halftime who came through and like won the game all of a sudden. Ended up being this guy named Joe Montana. Then my father pretty much said,
Joe
wherever
Montana,
this
right?
guy goes to play football, whoever drafts this guy, that's gonna be my team. And as old as I am, Joe's not my guy. Like I'm not old enough for that. But
Who's
that's
your
the
guy?
reason my father like rooted for them. So he passed it down to me. Like I just remember like and the slightest of Joe. Steve Young was more my guy. But my dad just followed Joe where he went from Notre Dame. Like and like he gave me the game, even though he's from the Bronx. Like he went to Indiana, but he saw that game and he said, "That's the guy that I'm gonna root for." And he picked a good guy, right? To
I mean,
get attached to, right? Yeah.
his eye was good for that. Hey, it's nice to hear you say that Steve Young is your guy because that's been
Yeah.
my guy. I've been
Yeah.
rocking with him since forever. Like I'm 37, so I've been around for just a little bit. So I've been around to see a lot. I saw our Super Bowl. I saw the Joe Montanas and Steve Young. And Joe Montana went to Kansas City. Like being at that game, like that stuff was wild for me. So
Wow,
it's,
you
it's
went to
nice to
the
hear that you share that same Steve Young thing.
wait, you went to the '94 game when Joe beat
It was
Steve in
Yes.
Arrowhead.
I had a I had a
Wow. Okay.
I had a bet with my brother. Rest in peace. He passed away, but I had a bet with him because he's a Cowboys fan. So
Okay.
my family is mainly Cowboys. Well, now Commanders, but when we moved to California back when I was 2, I got my teams from my mom and stuff like that. So that's how it ended up happening, just from being in the area. But yeah, that situation alone, me and him, we're going back and forth. Of course, I'm rooting for Steve Young, but we all know at the end of that, he had the last laugh. I had to walk around the house with my shirt off all day, even though I didn't want to. It was just like a messed up bet that I lost, and I was pretty upset about that. But yeah,
That's crazy because I do remember that I'm 37 myself, so
all
I
right,
have a lot of the same memories. That's why like I remember Joe at the end, but Steve has
mm-hmm.
always been my guy. So it was a little
Exactly.
bit awkward for that because even my father, who was the person who gave me the game with the 49ers, I remember him being pro Joe the entire time and him saying some of the things that would have bothered me with any sort of quarterback change in terms of I can't root for them if he's not the quarterback type stuff. Like, I'm
Right.
not going to sit here and lie with you guys. Like, these were things that I had heard, right? Like, there was no Twitter back then. There was no any way
Right.
for you to get everybody's opinion. So you get who you get it from, especially on the East Coast. At the time, there were 49ers fans, but not many, really understood. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's just insane how people have gone through that. And even my father had to, like, after year 2 of Steve Young, say, yeah, you know what? I was completely wrong. Let me, be quiet on all that because Steve Young's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
For
Okay.
sure. For sure.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just wanted to admire the fact that you living where you live. We talked about the grind earlier. coming all the way out here, we met at the training camp. You know, like that was the time you saw my son. You know, we had our sign. That was his 7th birthday. Got to meet my guy, Jace Move here, and then you know we were talking in. Just seemed like it made sense. I was like, you know, this guy's actually pretty cool. I've been watching this stuff for forever. I was like, but you know, talking to him in person, he's the same exact person that he is online. So just so y'all know, this he's the same exact person the whole
I
time.
appreciate that. I appreciate that, and that's what I hope to exude. But yeah, man, it's like I'm just like you guys. Like I just want to talk ball, like, and
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
and just
That's
link
it.
up. And that's it, man. It's not. It shouldn't be anything more than that. Sometimes, you know, we exaggerate that and we start to take it to places it shouldn't be. But like, it's like, you know, at the same time, we're just like trying to talk ball. That's it. Everybody should be able to have their opinion and voice it in a respectful way. Yeah, and I think that
Exactly.
that's the best part. It's like you meet people from all different places. Like I'm
That's what
from Jersey over here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you come over here and you're like, yeah, 49er
man.
fan here, 49er fan there. It
Yes.
don't matter where you go.
Mhm.
Like, it's just,
All
it's
walks of
love.
life.
Yeah,
Don't
absolutely. And I
matter.
think that's what's really diverse about the fan base. And that's what's really fun about traveling. And like it don't have to be a training camp. All you gotta do is go to an away game. That's when 49er fans will really meet 49er fans when you go to away games.
Okay.
Like like if you want to go meet 49er fans, yeah, obviously if you go to the stadium, you'll meet more. But the hardcore ones are gonna be the ones that are like meeting you in Carolina. Then like, oh, I'm
Right.
going to Atlanta
Right.
New
next week.
Orleans and
Like
all
yeah,
that.
like they're like whole in that whole area. They've targeted the whole thing. Like those
Mhm.
are real 49ers fans, man. Like those guys are
Yes.
hard, man.
I'm
They
have
go
to
to
agree
all the
with you.
games.
I'm have to agree with you there, man. Because at my job, like I have coworkers that are super big Niner fans, and I don't know if you've seen him before, but he has like this firefighter helmet on, and it's full on Ninered out. Like he decked his whole firefighter helmet into a whole everything. He was at the Seahawks, I mean not Seahawks, the Saints game, and that one where Jimmy threw the pass, Kittle got through the holding and everything. We finally won
2019.
when we took over. When we took over New Orleans after that, yeah, man, like those are real fans because when I talk to him, it's different. It's different. So
I
we're
agree.
actually gonna be with him at the Seahawks game. So hopefully we see you.
Yeah, Seattle home opener maybe, but the Atlanta game is the one that I've got like kind of circled, like where I can
Okay.
like, I can make it happen. It's close to my house, and I can still like knock out the content and everything. That's the other thing too.
Yeah.
It's like it's hard to travel. Like we got a lot of stuff that like we have to do contractually, like with people. Like I can't go to the game and then like fill my post game or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like if I go right away, it sucks, but at the same time, like it's a blessing. So that's like
Yeah.
that's how it's got to like be thought of.
Ask him
Right.
about that.
Huh?
So he was talking about, contractually you can't do certain things. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you came about with this whole Niner Nation thing.
Mhm.
And man, that was the main thing why we're going to have a toast for my guy today. Cause
Appreciate you, man.
he just signed on with Niner Nation. Of course, his co-host as well. Like that's big
Mhm.
things with both of you guys, man. I mean, I've been a fan of you guys' show. I appreciate watching it all the time. Like I've been looking at stuff for a pretty good minute now. We've been doing
Yeah.
this for about at least like over a year. Not podcasting, but just bouncing ideas back and forth. Really doing real research, being able to pick and choose like the people that talk like they know something, and but they just saying everything as the national media. To me, the national media tells lies. So with some of them, but
Right.
that's why I'm glad who you're with, who you are with, and your article was good too. That first one.
Yeah.
So
Appreciate you
yeah,
guys. And honestly, that's all we are. We're just guys that want to talk ball. That's it in one way
yeah.
or another. So yeah, man, it's good for everybody. I love the platforms that everybody's been able to build. It's room enough for everybody. Like it's a beautiful time right now. Like 49 fans are spoiled with all of the great content that's like out there, like for
Right.
them, man.
Right.
Like whatever it is that they want to choose to. So yeah, for sure.
Okay. Okay. All right, man. Well, I want to get into the season. I want to know your roster projection, or not projection, your roster. My bad. I want to know your prediction for the season.
Mhm.
That's what I want to know.
Well, I mean, if you look at this roster, it's hard to argue that this roster is not a top three, sometimes not number three, sometimes not number two. Some people would say top one, right? Like, and in any of those conversations, this is a team that should win 10 games with their quarterback play being somewhat baseline. And when I say somewhat baseline, is literally meaning the bare minimum from Trey Lance. Like, don't turn the ball over and complete the explosive plays that they're gonna set up for you later on in the game. Like, like nothing no one's expecting Trey Lance to come in here and beat Patrick Mahomes realistically in the first season. If that's what
Right.
happens, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Whew.
But like to expect something that has never been done before and throw that on a quarterback, any quarterback, let alone the 49ers quarterback, that just feels a little bit lofty. And that's really what it is everyone has to understand that this team is going to win games because they're coached very well. Their roster is top to bottom one of the
Mm-hmm.
best in the world, if not the
Mhm.
best in the world. And if the quarterback even plays a little bit more than what they really need from baseline, now you're looking at a team that's truly dangerous. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a lot of things for 49er fans to be excited about. And I think a lot of it has to do with the culture that's been built. Like Kyle Shanahan this year, the team was 3-5
Yep.
on the borderline of just
Mm-hmm.
either
Switching the
cracking, and
tray.
yeah, and he was steadfast, and he made it happen, and look how deep they went. I think that buys a lot with this roster that's there. The guys that are holdovers, I think
Mm-hmm.
that Kyle has really won these guys over in a way that they believe that he can help them turn anything around if it ever comes to that. So yeah, I mean, and what's wrong with having the best quarterback room right now in the league? You know, like,
Yeah, yeah,
and I
yeah.
think at
You
this
know,
point,
like
that's it.
for real, the best quarterback room in the league. I'm glad you touched on that because that's the truth. There's a lot of people that are upset. I'm a I'm a Trey fan, but when I found out about the Jimmy G news, I wasn't mad at all because I already know where the franchise stands with Trey. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're not a franchise that really lies to us at all. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's been pretty spot on in John Lynch about
Mm-hmm.
what they intend to do. If you really go back months ago, he said we're not going to cut Jimmy. He said that literally out his mouth. So,
Mm-hmm.
but we start to think stuff like, "There's no way this could happen. This is crazy," and all this stuff. I mean, because it is crazy, but yeah. So, I mean, honestly, if anything was to happen to Trey, then we got Jimmy. But I only think he's there for like injury purposes. That is all. I feel like Trey shouldn't have to worry about that Jimmy G monkey on his back all the
Mm-hmm.
time. I feel like if he came here to play football, then you should be here to play football. And if you've been learning behind Jimmy, who was able to deal with your situation, then you should be able to handle a situation as well. Because if that's
Mm-hmm.
who's been teaching you, that's how I feel.
I would say this. I think that Jimmy Garoppolo right now has done the best thing that's best for him. This team did the best thing that was best for them,
Mm-hmm.
and he has a chance to audition for the rest of his time in this league as a bridge
Right.
guy. He's going to be the
Mm-hmm.
guy that is usually in front of the rookie. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
going to be stabilizing for a year or two. He's very good at, being a middle of the pack quarterback and a guy who will give you and see, when you say middle of the pack, people get upset. It's just like there's a lot of really good quarterbacks in the league, and that's no slight to him
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that. It's more, there's the hierarchy, and then there's everybody else, and everybody else is very good actually. So I mean, it's the weird thing of having a guy who is able to say, you know what, I will take this backup role, but the the culture is strong enough to withstand it. They are, and
Mm-hmm.
and all of the noise is going to be outside noise. Jimmy's not going to do anything or say anything in any press conference that you guys are going to be able to point to and say, so everything's going to be fine. I
Jimmy
think when it
won't
comes
say
to
a
that.
word.
Oh, right. Right.
Right. Yeah, man. Jimmy, it's true. You
So
got something?
yeah, I want to touch on that a little bit. So Kyle Shanahan, right? So just like you were saying, I feel like when you have that player or that person in your organization that can motivate everybody and elevate their play, right? So you think about Kyle Shanahan, the way he can call plays, all the versatility players that he gets to move across the line. I think it just helps throughout the season. It helps him game plan a little bit. He knows who he can put in position, who can make that block that he's looking for this play, who can make this pass, for this play. I think he's going to do a good job with Trey. He knows his strengths. I think he's just going to elevate everybody on that team. I think we have a lot of questions on the O line, but I think they're going to be young. But I think they're going to play. I think their play is going to overshadow their mistakes. And I think Kyle's going to do a good job with calling maybe some different run schemes to utilize their strengths in blocking. So I think it's going to be a good season for us, and I think Kyle's going to be the main person to put all of this together, be the glue to the team.
Yeah, Kyle's the
Absolutely.
offense. A lot of people have said that. And yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's like if there are problems in pass protection, then Kaz's not going to call things that are going to allow those guys to be left
Right.
single up.
Mm-hmm.
The only time that those things really happen are when game situations get away from them, right? And how
Right.
often is that? Is this defense going to be down 21 nothing, 14 nothing, 17 nothing in a
Right.
blink? Probably not. Like, this is a
Yeah.
top 1 defense like in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be many times where this game's going to always be close, and even if the offense is not clicking, the defense is going to have it all in hand for him too as well. And for the first time, this defense feels like they're opportunistic when it comes to a lot of interceptions now because of
Yes.
Ward and Mosley now, and
Mhm.
even Hufanga, who seems to like find himself around the ball.
Mm-hmm.
If they're turning the ball over, then it's going to put Lance on shorter sides of the field, things like that. So the defense is always,
Of
and
course.
the coaching is always going to put them in spots where they're going to win. That's why you have to at least put the floor at like 10 games right now, even with the bumps and bruises that will come with Trey Lance's first season.
Right, right. So you talk about
100%
that
agree.
defense. I mean, Jimmy Ward said he expects Pick City to be the theme this year. I mean, do you really? I mean, I could really see that. I mean, you got Jason Verrett, who's not even on the roster yet because he's injured, but when he comes back, that's another dynamic press corner you can put out on the field. Womack's
Sprinkle it, just sprinkle it on there. Icing
just a
on the
little bit,
cake.
you
You know what I'm
know,
saying?
just
Like, if Jason turns out to be anything, my goodness, we gonna be at the parade together celebrating because I know you're gonna be there. If not, we gonna make sure.
yeah. You know,
No,
seems like Jimmy Ward, it seems like he's starting to get some picks, right? Late last season. And even in the playoffs, he was starting to get some. So it looks like he's starting to find his niche there. Charvarius Ward, he hasn't had many picks, but I think he's going to get a lot this year. I think the quarterbacks are going to test him because I think he can't catch. I think he's just going to start, shutting that down, shutting that side down like Richard Sherman did a few years ago.
It's the number changes, man. You get locked in when that
Oh,
happens.
yeah,
I love the number
absolutely.
7 for Ward,
Oh,
man. That is so
yes,
cool,
yes, bro.
man. Like the 7, like I think Pat Pete wore it like the last time at
Mm-hmm.
LSU. So that 7 is clean, like for a corner, and if
Mhm.
he's about
Mm-hmm.
to do what I think he's about to do, yeah, 7 is gonna be a popular jersey over there, man. Like, and this
Yes,
is the
it
first
is.
time that this secondary can like be married. We knew the pass rush was what it was, right?
Solid.
And I'll say
Oh,
this
yeah.
over and over again. Having seen this entire rotation and all these guys that they used to implement, it's deeper than the 2019 line, even if that 2019 line is so top heavy. Like, you're not gonna do better than 4 of Armstead, Bosa, Ford, and Buckner. You can't do better.
Buckner.
You can't do better than those 4. You can't. Like, that's impossible. But
Right.
when you
Right.
look
Right.
at depth, when you look at past those, and you're
Mm-hmm.
looking at the guys after, I think it's no question that this defensive line is much more deep than that was. That's what won down the stretch last year. That's how you close out games is you sack the quarterback and you have guys with fresh legs, and that's what the 49ers are going to have in spades. That's why it's hard for
Mm-hmm.
me to ever see them getting rid of. Like, they let Kimoko Torre hit the waiver
Right.
wire, and I was like, what
Yeah.
on earth? And they were able to at
Right.
least
Right.
get him back on the practice squad, and that's how deep they are. There's not a lot of 5.5 sack guys just sitting out there in free agency. Like, it's just that's how deep they are, and that's what should have this team, this fan base excited. Is the team is like super deep to the point where even practice squad guys have people excited because they're actual NFL players. Like, they would be starters on
Mm-hmm.
some teams.
Right. Yeah, that's big facts right there. I mean, other organizations are looking at the Niners because they know we have
Mm-hmm.
credible players, and the way we handle our business, like they're respected. They're respected
Mm-hmm.
around the league. So when we make our cuts, it's highly sought after, from what I would say.
Yeah,
Right. You think about Kamoko Ture. I mean, I think of a guy like Golden from the Arizona Cardinals, right? Number 44 back probably a couple years
Marcus.
ago. Yeah, Marcus
Mark
Golden,
Golden.
energy guy. You bring him in on third downs, let him go get the quarterback, and bring that energy, especially if it's, fourth quarter, a few minutes left, and we need to get out the stadium. You could put guys like that in, make a play. So, yeah, I was pretty surprised that Kamoko Ture got released, but I'm glad, they brought him back.
Brought in the
So,
practice squad. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, yeah.
nobody realized that they were going to keep 3 quarterbacks, and
Yeah, we don't do that.
and one of them
Yeah.
was, so I look, I'll tell you this. 53, I don't have many complaints. Maybe I feel a little way because Malik Turner didn't make it. I thought he was going to make it based on like practice, like basic, like special team stuff. I had Malik Turner making it because he actually ran routes too as well, like during camp.
Mhm.
But I understand what they're gonna do. You carry 4 tight ends. You have a bunch of running backs now. You stock up the offensive line. It's because you're gonna run the ball out of. You're gonna run the shit out of the ball on everybody. Like so, you just
Right.
it's good to stock all that stuff up. You have your receivers. You know everything, and they know exactly what they want to do. This team is not going to do anything that you haven't seen. They're just going to do things that were possible, if that makes any sense.
No, of course.
They're going to throw the ball less, but you're going to see more downfield throws. They're
Yes.
going to run the ball more than they ever have because obviously the quarterback can also do that too. But they want to protect the youngster, right? Like they're not gonna put him out there and just say drop back 30 times. Kyle will never do that.
Yeah, no,
Right.
no.
So the kid's going to develop. They're still going to do the things that make them successful. And he's just going to add that little bit when it comes to big plays necessary or things that are
Right.
off schedule. Like Kyle doesn't want to have to be perfect every single time. Call the right play, call the right protection, everything, and then have the guy look at the guy and throw it.
Right.
Sometimes you need a little bit more when the protection breaks down and he moves out the pocket and he can, make a throw down the field. Like that's not there. That's what I think Trey brings to this offense. So you'll
A real
see the
playmaker.
same timing stuff. You'll see the same running and things like that, but you won't get those bigger plays without the talent that Trey gives. And I think that comes with Kyle having to pull his grip off of everything a little bit more, just a little bit. Like let the kid let the kid paint a little bit in between your black and white, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think Kyle will eventually do it. I just think it's gonna have to be based on Trey performing and coming up doing those off scripted things like that. Like, wow, I might be able to trust him a little bit more, and then completely open it wide open. But I really wanted to talk about Jordan Mason. I want to talk about him.
Georgia Tech in the building.
Georgia Tech in the building. For me to look, he only 3 touchdowns since 2020. You know what I'm saying? So for him to come undrafted makes sense because the touchdowns didn't really accumulate. But all of a sudden, he gets on our squad. It's like balls to the wall every day. Third down back. He's seeing holes. He can hit everyone. The main thing for me was consistency. It was consistent. Like he popped off the screen in those preseason games. It's just something about that toughness that I like. I feel like he'll move up the depth chart. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he was number 1 by the halfway through the season, end of the season, something like that. I just feel like Jordan Mason could eventually potentially have a bigger role in this offense because I like what I saw from him.
Jordan Mason was the absolute most consistent running back the entire camp. He did nothing wrong, at any time. Pass block, catch the ball, run the ball. And for everybody who says, well, he ran with the third team, he's facing the third defense. Well, you want him to face the number 1 defense. He's going to run with the number 1 offense as well, too. So it's not like you're telling him to get up there. It's not like you're telling him to get up there with the third squad and beat the 1 defense. It's a lot easier to run behind Trent. And look, no disrespect to Colton McKivitz or anybody who's playing left tackle, but it's a lot easier to run behind Trent Williams. Yeah, right. So, with Jordan Mason is every single rep was consistency. And this is the thing that you want to see. Sometimes you don't get as many reps. You're an undrafted free agent. Maybe your reps are 7 practice, right? All you can do is what you've been getting. And every time he was called on to do something, whether it was pass block, catch the ball, run the ball, he looked like the better running back on the field. Every single day was the most consistent. Elijah Mitchell may have had a better day than him running the ball, but nobody has had the most consistent camp that he had of every single day being good at everything. Because there would be days where Elijah Mitchell would drop a pass. Trey Sermon dropped passes, but Trey Sermon ran the ball a little bit more. He's an Eagle now, but it's about what Jordan Mason showed the entire time, and it popped off on tape. That's what the front office thought of him because they knew he would not make it through waivers, so they had to keep him on the 53. That's how good he was. I promise you, he was the most consistent throughout camp and preseason. He was the most consistent running back on this team, and Elijah Mitchell still should be running back 1. Have no problem with Jeff Wilson being RB2 right behind him at all. But Jordan Mason eventually is going to have to carve his way onto this team because he's going to do it on special teams, and he does deserve touches. He does deserve touches with this first offensive line.
Yeah.
And you think of like times like maybe next year, right? When maybe Jeff Wilson's not on the team, he could slip into that running back too and really just like thrive, because he's
Yes.
like you said, pass blocking, 6'1", 220 pounds. I
He
mean,
catch.
not too many linebackers are much bigger than him. So I think next year is going to be this year is going to be a stepping stone to next year for Jordan Mason to where we could probably see him dip into those running back one touches.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm looking forward to that. Honestly, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm excited for him, man. Like that's one of those guys that I rooted for to make the team, and I probably shouldn't. Like now that you have to like actually like write about the team objectively, but no, it's just
Right.
for like his work ethic and everything, and like whenever he was called upon, right? Like a lot of guys would hang their head and they get 3 reps in a practice, right? And me necessarily, I wouldn't, blame them because I'm not built like that. Like, but Jordan Mason,
Mhm.
like whenever it was that his number was called, he was ready to go. He never let anything get to him, and he looked like the better back out of everybody this
Agreed.
entire camp and
Agreed.
preseason.
Agree 100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and talk about the NFC as a whole. Give us who you think is going to be like your top 5 teams coming out the NFC.
Well, I mean, obviously you got to say the Rams. Sorry, 49ers fans.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, of course.
49ers,
Absolutely.
that's
Super Bowl.
2. The Bucks, the Packers. I still think that the Eagles are going to win that division as well too. So I think that's your
Okay.
5 right there. The
Okay.
Cowboys probably make the playoffs just based off of their division. The
Sucks.
Vikings and the Saints are the teams that are going to have to like really fight for something, in my opinion,
Hmm.
when it comes to making that 6th or 7th.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, I think it's pretty simple. Like, the 49ers, based on their team, they'll make the playoffs. The Rams are the Rams. They're still the Super Bowl champs. Like,
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
you cannot just like knock that away. Yeah, I know the Matthew Stafford things are real, like with the elbow, but I'm not about to knock them away real quick.
Right, right.
But yeah, it's still the Packers as long as Aaron Rodgers is playing football. The Eagles are really good. The Eagles are really
Mhm.
good. I think that they're going to be fine in their division. The Cowboys, the Bucks. I mean, as
I was
long as
about to
Tom
say, what
Brady,
do you think
yeah,
about the Bucks?
yeah, I was
Yeah.
as Tom Brady, as long as Tom Brady's
Tom
alive.
Brady.
So it's between the Saints and like the Cowboys
Wild card.
and one more extra team, like to see who's gonna make it. But I think it's clear. Like if you're talking top 5, then it's got to be some order of like the Bucks, the Rams, the Niners, the Eagles, and the Packers, like in some order there. But I think that the Niners do have a claim to the first. But the biggest thing is like if the quarterback plays
Health.
above and beyond, then it's not even
Hmm.
close, right? Because I think roster, you don't want to argue with many of these teams about how your roster is. I think the 49ers
Mm-hmm.
have a better roster, but, that quarterback is that like last little portion that you would say, you've got to turn on.
Right.
The
Still
biggest
Aaron
question
Rodgers,
mark
it's
of
still
our
Tom
season.
Brady. Like, yeah, we still got to
Right.
say
Tom
that. Like,
Brady.
As long as he's still
like,
breathing,
yeah,
bro, you
like,
can't go against that
yeah,
man.
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
Niners fans, but like, it's still Aaron Rodgers,
He
it's
got
still
some
Tom
sense
Brady.
though,
Like,
you know.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Mhm.
And you think about it, right? It's like Ali Marpet retired, Jensen injured, but it's
Mm,
like with Tom Brady, you don't think of those being issues because you've seen what he's done with nothing.
Yeah.
He's been in New England. He's had, C-listers, and he still
he
won Super
turned
Bowls.
them into something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Versus when he had Randy Moss, he hasn't won a Super Bowl. So he can do something with some nobodies. Not to say that these guys are nobodies, but they're just not your starters. But when you have Tom Brady on your team, I mean, anything's possible. So
Yeah, you get the ball out faster. He'll understand all that stuff. They'll
mm-hmm.
change the offense in that way. I mean,
mhm.
yeah, that's
He'll
why
be there.
he's the GOAT, man. But yeah, that's the
Yep.
reason. That's the last thing the 49ers need to fall into place. Like the
Mhm.
NFL doesn't want Lance to work for the 49ers because it's not good for the NFL. Like it's a lot of problems like for everybody if this kid can even like scratch the surface of like what he's able to hit.
It
Like
won't be
Right.
that they're
fair.
built different like with this roster.
It won't be fair.
They've got
Right.
core guys though. They've got core guys
Yeah.
that are in their prime. Like they're not going anywhere. You don't have to worry about any of that. They're even working on Jimmy Ward right now. Like this is a core
Mhm.
that if you get a quarterback that can lift just a little bit more, like let's say if he gives you 15% more, then that's when you're
Mhm.
starting to get into a problem with the NFL and how they're going to be able to run with this because there's 3 more years. Well, there's 3 more years of the contract, but I doubt he'll play on
Mhm.
a 5th-year option. But yeah,
Right.
you've got at least 2 more years of running him at a rookie quarterback rate and still being able
Mhm.
to bring guys in and sign players as the cap goes up.
Mhm.
Sky's the limit, I think, for this team.
Yeah.
Right. And you talk about Trey Lance, there's different I think there's different roads you can take his contract, right? So if he performs, you can either go in the tier of like a Deshaun Watson contract where you can still give him a max but still have money to build around your quarterback, right? Or he can play into a contract like top tier, like a Josh Allen, to where we just give him, the bank. But I think the Niners are going to be smart to where they're going to pay him a substantial amount, but it's not going to affect to where they're going to still put players around Trey. Because again, he doesn't have to do too much. You're just keeping the ship afloat.
Parag won't let that happen either. Like, by
right,
the way,
right.
We know he's not trying to do all that.
Right.
No, but
No.
if I don't want to downplay what Lance can be by just saying he needs to just be a little bit better than this, like, or anything like that. Like, I think the world of him, and I think that he has a real big shot to like make a real impact in this league. Like, not just be a guy who like commands, Super Bowl teams, like a guy who is like bigger than that, like on that bigger level. So like that's what like I care about, but obviously, we'll take the other stuff with it too. Just because I start to get behind guys when people irrationally hate on the kid. Like irrationally, like when I start to see like an overpiling of hate, I start to root for you to tell them to shut up. Like and that's where like and it just happens to be with Trey. Like at this point, it's just like so many people have like written his story, and the kid hasn't even tried yet. And I'm just like, I just want you to shut all these people up. Like I really do.
Please.
Right.
That's honestly what made me jump on the Trey bandwagon even harder. Like I was one of the ones when we discussed that, predicted that we would pick Trey Lance. We started doing research. I'm like, I kind of like this kid. I was like, it's not a whole bunch here, but.
And just for the record, I was for Mac Jones, but after talking to him, he convinced me that.
Oh wow! All right, so I was for Justin Fields.
You're Justin Fields? Okay, I was Mac Jones.
Okay, so my cousin, he was for Justin Fields, and we had this conversation a lot, but of who couldn't be for Justin Fields at that moment? Like what?
Right.
What I had already cropped him in the Niner jersey, number, everything. Like I was good to go, but it was like. For some reason, though, I'm like, we had to meet with Trey twice, right? We met with him twice, declined for Justin. I was like, I don't know, man. This Trey Lance cat might be doing something for real. I saw the legs. He did run a lot over there, though, but it was just more so I was watching him going through progressions and working out of a pro style offense at 19 years old. I was like, what?
Right.
That's interesting right there. I'm sure Kyle saw, all that and some, and I believe in it. I believe in Kyle, man. I mean, our team was trash before he got here. So
you guys, all right. So y'all are cousins, right? Is that what you told me?
Huh?
No, y'all cousins, like, or like y'all just boys or whatever.
Oh no, we boys.
All right. So y'all are boys, and you're for Trey Lance, you're for Matt Jones. Like, how do these discussions go? Because like on Twitter, they didn't go well. Like, and people just giving opinions, like just regular opinions. Like, I just want to know, like, is it a house divided? Like, or y'all are just like y'all talking like the entire time?
You want to talk about that?
So it's true. So it's true. Hold up. Let me get close.
I'll tell my side. You tell your side.
Hold on. So it's true. I love it. I tapped in.
There was a little divide. I was ready to throw some fruit punch on.
Let's go.
All right, here we go. All right, so it all started once we moved up to number 3. The moment we moved up to number 3, I get a call from this clown. Like, did you see what happened? Like, of course I've seen what happened. Like, I can't go to sleep right now. Who are we about to get?
Yeah.
So we started doing a bunch of research, and then like I said, I landed across Trey Lance. I was like, I think take a chance at this kid from North Dakota State. But knowing him, he'd barely be listening to me half the time. So he was like, I don't know, man. I've been hearing a lot of news about Mac Jones. I'm like, why do we need Jimmy G again? I'm confused. Why do we need this? It did. I wasn't going to call him Jimmy G, but I just wanted to change. I just wanted to change a pace, It's like from Jimmy G, then we had Alex Smith. I was just like, I just want something else. And this clown, he called, and then he was like, man, Mac Jones, this guy, he's accurate. He'll listen to everything that Kyle says. We don't really need much.
Not wrong.
He can hit, some of the throws. He doesn't have that strong of an arm, but then he started trying to prove to me that Mac Jones could run.
Yeah.
The Pro Bowl don't count.
Right. So my thing about
gritty at the end,
right? That weak ass gritty at the end. All right, no, my bad. Keep going.
It was weak, bro.
So the one thing that happened throughout this texting, so like he said, I was on the anticipation, the throwing. I thought he was just that typical,
Yeah.
old school quarterback. He's very, Pro Bowler first year. Can't really knock that. But when his picture started floating around with his shirt off, that's when I started getting heat.
With the smiley face.
What the so no offense to Mac Jones, but I'm glad we got Trey. But those discussions, they got heated at times. Text messages, we were texting all through the
We didn't talk
night.
for 2 days at one
We
point. I
didn't
was
talk
like,
for
I
2
ain't
days
Right.
at
talking to
So
one
this
it did
fool,
point.
get
man.
so
I
it
ain't
did
got
get
time
like
for
that.
this.
It
Yeah.
was some real beef, and it was just like because we were passionate about who we were gonna get. It's like you don't trade up to number 3 for a scrub,
Or
Yeah.
just a guy that's gonna stand
That's
there and be
just
Mac
He
Jones.
wouldn't have been
Like
there. See,
that was my point.
I look and look, I feel you guys because this is exactly like what it boiled down to, like in terms of everybody killing each other on Twitter. But yeah, I think a lot of 49er fans have a real big issue with knowing that Kyle Shanahan truly considered Mac Jones a 3. And he really did. I mean, he spoke about it plenty of
No, he
times,
definitely
like out
did.
of his
yeah.
own mouth. And I think a lot of 49er fans have a problem even hearing that come out of his mouth where, yeah, we
Yeah.
considered Mac Jones. I don't think that that's a problem. I really don't. And I thought
Mhm.
that's why they moved up as quick as they did, was because they wanted to evaluate everybody. And
hmm
it did feel like at the end that it did fall out of Justin Fields' favor, and that's who I wanted. But yeah, like I don't think that it's a big deal that like Kyle considered it. Kyle Shanahan was kind of right with Mac. Mac would have done just fine with the 49ers
Yeah,
last year if
Right.
he started.
he
If he
would have.
started. But
He would have.
if you bring in Mac, if you bring him in, this is the counter argument. If you bring
Right.
in Mac
Here we
at
go.
whatever it is, 3, doesn't he have to start?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You
All
see
right.
what happened with
So,
Cam?
all
Yeah.
right. So now now you're creating this new thing because I agree. Every single person that evaluated the draft knew one thing about Matt Jones. He was the most pro ready quarterback ready to
Yes.
go. So
Yep.
if you take
Yep.
him at
Mm-hmm.
3, you're not waiting. Like what you waiting
Right.
for? Like you're not waiting at all. Like there's no
Mm-hmm.
year off, nothing like that. You give him that same offensive line, you give him that same running game, you give him that same coach, those same weapons. I'm sure he
Yeah.
executes the offense
hmm
somewhat to the level that Jimmy G has. But that's the thing is when you take Lance, I think everybody understood that it was a long-term thing and that they felt that there was a little bit more ceiling. But
Mm-hmm.
49er fans shouldn't have been mad if they did take Mac Jones. Like they would be fine, like with this
Right.
offense. Like yeah,
We'd have
like
been like, oh, we missed our. I think it would have
Right.
been more so. I don't think we would have been talking about Trey Lance if we'd have took Mac Jones. I think we'd have been like, we could have had Justin Fields.
hmm
I wanted Justin Fields. I think that he's put a lot of good on preseason tape out there, but we're gonna find out. Like, and he's not happy that the 49ers passed on him. Let's just say that. He's been talking
He's
like
Right.
not.
pretty
He got
spicy.
something against us. I could feel it.
But
Like
you know what?
rightfully so.
If I felt that someone passed me up and it was unfair, look, at
For
times
somebody who wasn't even
I'm
in our
petty.
league.
I'm petty.
Right.
Like I'm
Yeah.
petty like that
Right.
sometimes. So
Yeah.
I'm not mad at him
I
for that.
mean,
His best game ever as a quarterback was against the 49ers in Soldier Field. Like
yeah, that literally his best play, right? He
that's
shook
his
all
best
of us and
game
ran in
all
for a
around.
touchdown.
He was
Yeah.
crazy that game. He was actually really good that game. That was hard to
Yeah.
watch because I wanted him and I still was like, all right, man,
Mhm.
stop beating my team now. Like, chill out.
Right. Stop
hmm
making me feel
Yeah,
more
so
right
I was
right
like,
now.
this
Right.
isn't good. Like, I don't want to applaud this like at all. Like, don't make me do this.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So, who's one player on the defense that you think is going to come out probably mid-season and start showing and start contributing on that defense?
I think it's Charles Omenihu, and I think that
Mm.
everybody's kind of just like, Bosa's going to be Bosa, Armstead's going to be Armstead. Everybody's going to play up to their level, like Warner,
Right.
Ward and Mooney, the other Ward,
Mhm.
when he comes back. But Omenihu seems like he's tapped into something later on in the season where something really clicked with this defense and
hmm
understanding it and how they're going to use him. I mean, they let Teray go because they're going to keep Kerry Hyder inside. So that allows Omenihu to move around more and he doesn't have to be
hmm
limited into the inside. Hyder's a big Kosuric guy. And yeah, it's Charles Omenihu for me. For me, it's him because he's shown it throughout the preseason, but like
Right.
towards the end of the playoffs last year, he was a driving force and he was one of those guys at the end that really helped them close out ball games. And it just seemed like
Mhm.
something clicked. Him and Samson Ebukam, those are the two guys that like
Mm.
really figured it out at the end of the year. And it's like
Yep.
49er fans want to cast Ebukam off, and I'm like, nah, you need to like chill out, like like it's
Mhm.
he finally figured it out. So
Yeah, just wait
Ebukam,
a second. Like, yeah.
right, yeah, like let
He even
him,
tweeted about it. Like, man, I'm ready.
I'm
Like,
ready.
this is the best
Yep.
I ever felt. Like, I wish
right,
I was here earlier. Like,
right.
like
So Ebukam and Omenahue, I think it would be the two that everybody's going to look at because you can set your watch to so many guys on this defense, and that's what makes them so special.
Right.
right,
I think a
right.
guy for me, I'm looking forward to Javon Kinlaw, right? Talking about DeForest Buckner, somebody that we lost. When we had Buckner, I mean, how many 4th-and-1s did we stop because he was in the middle plugging up the hole?
Man.
I don't think we've had that since Buckner's left, but I think Kinlaw this year, I think he's kind of shown like he can be not only in the backfield on run plays, but I think he can be a contributor, sacking the quarterback too. So I think his play this year is going to kind of not be that Buckner-esque, but it's going to still be enough to where they're not going to try us up the middle like they've been the last couple of years since Buckner left.
Well, I mean, he said it's the best he's ever felt.
And then also DJ Jones left, so there's a lot riding on Kinlaw,
Yeah,
especially coming off that knee injury.
I agree with the Kinlaw thing, but I think that a lot of people putting expectations on numbers. I would just say all he needs to do is play 17. If
Just
he
play
plays
17.
17,
He's healthy.
That's it.
if he
And you
plays
think about
17,
defensive tackles, they don't need, 8 sacks. If they get 5, that's good, because they're stopping the run. They're in the backfield.
Right.
They're batting balls down. So from your DTs, you don't really expect too many sacks. But if he can get at least 5, that's a lot. And that's
Plus
and
we
the other
got
thing
Nick
is
Bosa,
too
so.
is like don't like downplay the loss of DJ Jones. Like he was very good. He was
he
number
was.
one
Yes.
in run blocking win rate, like for his
Yes.
position. So
Mm-hmm.
number one in the league. Like nobody was better
Yeah.
than like stuffing the run than him. And you know what? For the one thing is Kinlaw is good at being a run clogger and like having two guys. He looks like he's in the best shape of his life, man, too.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't put sacks on his impact in any way because
No.
all he needs to do is allow Armstead to continue to be inside. Then you can rotate Drake Jackson, Ebukam. You can like all those guys on the other side of Bosa, and you can keep those guys on the inside. Like I couldn't imagine being guards and looking at Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw, left and right of me, and like trying to be like, yeah, we're gonna block these guys. Like we got this. Like all they have to do is just be healthy. That's it. Just be healthy.
That's it. Right. So where do you have the Niners finishing win-loss by the end of the year before we head into the playoffs? What are your predictions there?
10-7. And I mean, you said it before we head into the playoffs. 10-7, they get into the playoffs. And I think that a lot of even if this is the record, I don't think that record would show us where Trey Lance is, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Like the whole win-loss record isn't a way to evaluate, quarterbacks and where they are. I mean, Mitchell Trubisky has more quarterback wins than Deshaun Watson. And I think we know, like, regardless of the other stuff, we know who's better. Like, we know who's a better player, right? So I think they can win 10 games, even going through the lumps of, what's going to happen with Trey Lance. And still at the end of the season, 49er fans can look at however it ends, whether it's in the playoffs, whatever, where the Super Bowl win, they can still look themselves in the mirror and say, we've got a guy. And that's really what matters, like going forward. Like you have to be able to know that your team is like in lockstep and moving towards something, and you have your guy now. So this season has a lot to do with what 49er fans can tell themselves when they tuck themselves into bed at night. Like how do you put yourself to bed at night? Sure, maybe we lost in the wild card game, but I've seen enough from Trey Lance where I feel really good going forward every single year as long as guys are healthy. Or, well, we didn't make the playoffs, you got to get rid of Trey Lance. Like there's going to be a lot of discussion when it comes. Like it just, I don't think that you can put like a number on like where Trey is at all. But I think that that's going to be the fun part at the end of the season. When 17 games are up, we're going to be able to at least have a year of it and say, this is where I feel he is. This is where I feel he's going. This is where I've been. And I think that's a lot of people are anxious about it because they want wins, but I'm intrigued by it and I can't wait to track it as it goes because it's going to be fascinating.
Man, that season can't come fast enough.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Man, it's so much. I feel like of all the teams, I feel like a lot of teams are looking at the 49ers. Yeah. I feel like that just because we had so much drama and still have drama present right now. I just think it's gonna be one hell of a season that something like we ain't seen before in a while. So I'm excited, man.
Can't wait.
I'm excited.
Definitely can't wait.
Yeah, man. Me too. Can't wait.
Absolutely. All righty,
Yeah, man.
man. Well, that just sums up for today. We want to
Yeah.
thank you again, Jason, for coming on to our
Appreciate
podcast,
you, my guy.
blessing us with your time. Again, congrats on the Niner Nations gig.
Congrats, blessings to
That's
you.
huge.
Yeah, man.
You know.
Yeah.
So we hope to see you at the home opener. If not, we definitely gonna link up. Do some more predictions and stuff throughout the season. And
Yeah. Hopefully, we talk to you
can't
soon.
wait.
You know.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, man. And thank you guys for having me on, man. You know, it's I appreciate the kind words, but man, I just want to talk ball with people. That's
You
it.
wanna talk
More
Just
than
wanna talk
anything.
ball.
Yeah, that's
That's
it.
it.
Like, yeah, that's it, man. So
Absolutely.
like it's an honor that you guys asked me on. So thank you guys.
Well,
Appreciate
hey,
it.
man, you're
Yeah.
literally our very first guest, and
Nice.
we wouldn't have had it any other way, man. Like,
Yeah.
once we found out, I was like, hell yeah, man.
Let's
That was
get
our
it.
guy up there. I'm like, absolutely, man. I can't wait to have him on this. He's another dude that likes to just talk ball. He ain't talking at the side of his
Right.
neck, and he gonna come from a neutral place, but he gonna still have his own opinion, you know. And
Appreciate
I
you.
like
Right.
that.
And why
Appreciate
not?
you
And why
guys.
not have somebody on the show that's just as fresh as me? You know,
Hey,
Okay,
You know what I mean?
hey, don't make me pull up to the home opener and some icy that I ain't
There
pulled
you
out
go.
yet. Like, yeah, see, man, I
hey,
wasn't
Jason, you
gonna
already
go,
know.
but like, don't do it, man. I'm just not.
Yeah,
right.
Hey, Jesse, you already know me and my son was dripped out on the shoes.
Yeah,
You too.
man.
So
Hey,
I know we can come with it.
I know how y'all coming. Yeah, exactly. Don't make me like
Yeah.
like I've never worn these like type
Right.
things that I gotta
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just like to make
Just
myself
for
feel
the
better.
record, I
Yeah.
left my 11th home that day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I didn't get the memo.
I mean, it's a solid memo, man. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
It was an East Coast thing, Jersey thing.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's it, man.
Just so you know, I was born on the East Coast myself. I was born
Really?
in DC though.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Georgetown Hospital. All my
Okay.
family from the East Coast, Virginia,
Okay.
North Carolina,
It's all the same
DC,
shit. It
Maryland,
is.
Jersey. Like it's the whole area. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, Allen Iverson, my favorite player. So like for a while, Georgetown was like where I was with
That's
it
my
at,
favorite
like
college.
when I was younger. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
And
I
the
was a
color
Knicks fan for a
waves.
little while, and obviously Pat Ewing, but Allen Iverson's my
Yeah.
favorite player of all time. So
Yeah.
And
See, that's
Georgetown,
good one.
they always come out with the hottest color waves in the Jordan world, so I could respect it.
that blue and
No.
gray, man, it's too hard to
Gotta
beat,
love it.
man.
Hottest color wave, you know.
Yeah, man.
Georgetown.
Right. Well, we appreciate you, Jason, my guy, man.
All right,
And
man.
yeah, we're gonna holler at you soon. Hopefully we can get you
Yep.
back on the show soon. We can talk whenever, you know. It's gonna be
Sure,
all
man.
good. Looking forward to this season though, man.
For sure, man. Thank you guys for having me again.
Of course, man. Have a
Thanks for
good
being on
night.
the
Be
show.
safe,
All right,
man,
man.
and congrats to you.
Thank you,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Appreciate you guys.
All right.